Hello everybody, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today I'm bringing you a review of Bootleg, a Rum Runner card game. So this is a card game for 2 to 5 players, and it takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes to play. So what I'm going to do now is take you down to the tabletop, show you how to set up and take you through an example turn of the game. And after that, I'm going to bring you back up and give you my final thoughts. Alright, down here onto the tabletop, this is the basic setup for Bootleg. So you have a very large stack of cards that you want to have shuffled all together. Make sure that you have pulled out the drop-off cards and the vehicle cards, put them in their own piles, and make sure that they are shuffled up here on the side. There's also 5 die that come with the game. You want to set them off to the side. You'll need them for various things later on in the game. So, once you have these separated out, you got this deck shuffled up. You want to deal 5 cards to every player. So in this example, I have 3 players here, so I have 3 players. So I'll be playing this player here, and I'm going to say that I'm going to be going first. So once that's set up, you want to draw the top 3 cards off the deck. Make sure there are no money cards in them, which I'll show you more about the money cards here in a minute. These are going to be what's called the Speak Easy cards, and I'm going to go over those here in a little bit. I'm just going to set them off to the side here for now. So once that's all set, each player takes their cards and play starts with the first player. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to take a look at the cards, and here are the cards that I have. And there are three types of cards in the game. So one is going to be the booze cards. One is going to be these cash cards, and the last type is going to be these action cards. Before I talk about exactly what it is, the main objective is to collect 3 sets of booze. You'll need 1 drop-off and 1 vehicle card. How you acquire these, I'll go over in a little bit. The booze cards you're going to get through the deck here. So, on your turn, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw 2 cards. So I got these, a couple more action cards. And then you are allowed to do up to 3 plays. What you want to play is always completely up to you. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the cards that I have in my hand here. So I'm just going to kind of lay them out right here. Alright. So the booze cards, I'm going to say booze right here along top. They're all black, like this. They're going to tell you the type they are, and right underneath it's going to tell you how many cards you need for the set. So like the keg of beer here needs 3 cards. There are some sets that only need 2, a couple that need 4. But in order to be a set, you just need the amount there, and they'll have to have the matching name. So anything that's in this game, they don't count if it's in your hand. It has to be played in front of you. So the money cards, these are straight up going to give you a value of money. Likewise, for money to count for you, has to be in play, cannot be in your hand. Now you notice that a lot of the other cards also have these money symbols here in the corner. So any card can be used for cash. These ones are just straight up cash, don't do anything else. All these other cards are like the action cards or even the booze card. So if you use these or these for cash, you don't get the abilities on the card. They just go into your cash pile as money. So why is that important? Well, there are many things that you're going to buy with this cash, such as these speakeasy cards up here, which I'm going to talk about, or also these vehicle cards or the drop-off cards. You're going to buy them with cash. Also, a lot of these other cards that you're going to play that are action cards, you're going to have to give money, take money from people and the other players. So you want to make sure you have a good amount of cash in your bank. And like I said, has to be in play. You can never play cash out of your hand. Okay. Third type of card is going to be these action cards. Action cards are pretty straightforward. It's going to have a name and it's going to tell you exactly what it does. Now a couple of these are going to be gangster cards, and they're more of like a specialty card. They're gangsters from this Prohibition era, mobster guys and gals. There's a couple of those in there, and you just follow along with what it exactly says. A couple of them that have this screen here are called casino cards. You're going to play a casino game against somebody else at the table, and you can win larger amounts of money in that. Now, talking about winning and money that you're getting from other players, another rule in this game is no changes to be given. So, say you owe somebody 200, but all you have is 500 cards. You're giving them a 500 card. You're not getting 300 back. That's just how the rule is, how it has to be. So going back here, I have all my cards here, and I have first player. So a couple of these are kind of steal and booze. Force a player to give you 500. Roll die. Loser pays the winner 200. None of those are really useful for me as being the first player, since you can't use money out of the hands. They don't have anything out. So my first play is probably going to be playing the 200 bank cards here, because I want to save some of these action cards and not burn them as cash right now. And then since we're collecting sets, I have a booze. I'm going to play that out in front of me. And that's going to be my turn. I'm left with 4 cards. So you have to make sure that you are, by the end of your turn, under 7. So another option that I had in my turn is these speakeasy cards that were sitting up here. They're available to anybody. Everyone can see them. And it's just pretty simple. As one of my 3 actions, if I wanted to pay the value up there, I put this into the discard. Whenever you play an action card or you pay for something, it just goes into the middle into the discard. You just pay the value, and it goes into your hand. Then when play passes to the next person, that's when these get refilled. So, talking about the drop-off cards and the vehicle cards, you have to buy them through the game. Now, before you draw, very important, before you draw your 2 cards in the turn, you have to declare that you are buying the vehicle or the drop-off, whichever one. You can only buy one. In that turn, you cannot buy both. Once you declare that you have the vehicle card or are buying the vehicle card or the drop-off card, that is the only thing you're doing in that turn. You do not draw any cards or anything like that. What you do is you declare that. You have to have at least $600 in your bank. You pick up a die and you roll it. Whatever the value is, times 100. That is how much that card is going to cost, whichever. So if I was buying a vehicle, I rolled a 6. It needs to be 600. Since I have to have at least 600 in the bank in order to even do that, whenever you declare it, you're always going to buy it. So you pick up the top card, and it just goes into your play area right next to you. Now, a lot of these cards, you're also going to see this bootleg value at the bottom. That is an optional rule that if you want to play this almost like a rummy style where you're collecting points to get to a end value, they recommend 5,000. When the game's over and somebody has the drop off the vehicle and their 3 sets, you tally up cash, how much their sets are, and all that, combine it all together, and go to the value that you want. So the game itself only lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. It's a quick game. So if you want to play a longer game, you would want to go with the values. So that's the game here in a nutshell. I'm going to take you up from the tabletop and give you my final thoughts. So final thoughts here on Bootleg. So this game here, it takes place in the Prohibition era, and I don't see too many games that take place into this, era of history. Me being a historical miniature player, I do have a huge affinity for historical base games. And like I said, I don't see this very often in a game, let alone a board game. A little more into the miniatures recently, but like I said, not into a board game, let alone a card game. So it was very interesting to see that. Overall, the game is really simple. I learned it very quickly. The game plays really well. It plays fairly smooth. It's not complicated. It's a very simple take-that game with some very minor set collecting with it. So if you're looking for a very light game, something that you can play, teach with a couple people really quickly, get a game in fairly quickly, it's a pretty decent game for you. Also, if you have any kind of interest in, gangsters or, Prohibition era, stuff like that, this would spark your interest also. So, this is Bootleg here. If you have Any questions or comments about it, definitely hit us up into the comment section down below. Hit the subscribe button. Every subscription that we get definitely helps the channel out, helps us bring more content to you. Until later, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild. Have a good night.